basics free for 10 days. Keep it and pay just $14.99 plus shipping and handling. Other books will follow. Cancel anytime. Call now 1-800-247-7100.
You're watching the Weather Channel for accurate forecasts at your convenience. Weather you can always turn to. Now, your local forecast, accurate and dependable from the Weather Channel. Coming up, a look at your local radar. But first, the 36-hour forecast from the National Weather Service. Special regional information. The regional forecast. The current local radar showing any precipitation in your area. Intensity is indicated by the color code at the top of the screen.
Oh, the worst part.
Oh, the worst part is that cough in the middle of the night.
Bad-tasting medicine. She hates it.
And then not knowing how much to give them.
The best? I think the improved Triaminic is the best.
Oh, our pediatrician told me about Triaminic.
I love that accurate dosing cup.
Oh, yeah. No more guesswork.
All I know is it really works.
She just loves the new taste.
Oh, mine too.
Give us your worst. We'll give you our best. Improved Triaminic.
It works.
Here is the Triaminic cold and flu report for your area.
The Brita water filtering pitcher. To operate, turn on the tap. The tap water flows through Brita's replaceable filter. Copper and lead are dramatically reduced. Chlorine taste and odor virtually eliminated. But even if you don't remember how Brita works, you'll never forget how Brita tastes.
Available at Service Merchandise and participating Ace Hardware.
A very major storm has been blasting through the northeast quadrant of the country over the last couple of days, one that will be long remembered because of this tremendous amount of snow, damaging winds, tremendous amount of flooding that's occurred over the last 3 or 4 days. Worked its way through the Great Lakes, really piled up the snow here. Local amounts over 35 inches. Also picked up some very heavy snow in the last 24 hours in Rhode Island, Connecticut, Massachusetts, and even southern areas of Vermont and New Hampshire. Here's some of the totals just in Massachusetts. Worcester around 2 feet of snow, all the way into Boston. Now they have 4 inches of snow on the ground. But tremendous winds have been occurring with this, and that's why there is coastal flood warnings all the way from Eastport, Maine, down to Fenwick Island. Hardest hit areas over the last couple of hours have been around Winthrop Island, very close to Logan Airport, just to the northeast of Logan Airport, the Boston Airport. And again, they were reporting some tremendous waves splashing on board and seas up to over 18 feet and causing some beach erosion and some damage right along the coastal areas and some tremendous waves. This is again from Winthrop, Massachusetts, near Logan Airport, the Boston Airport. Also, there's been some stormy weather out in the western states, piling up in areas of the Wasatch, the Cascades, the Sierra. This storm will continue to slide on eastward. It has target eyes on areas of Colorado all the way up into the Black Hills of South Dakota. You can see the heaviest snows are predicted for the San Juan Mountains. Heavier snows into Denver, Colorado. This storm's not over with in southern New England. Will continue to have an impact for the next 12 hours or so before things start to taper off. The snow in the western states will expand on out into the plains and even in through Sunday itself. The snow will work its way from Minnesota back through New Mexico while things will taper down and a lot of snow to shovel. Please be careful with that up in the northeast. As we settle into our forecast for tomorrow, we'll focus in on what's happening right now with more snow back out in the Rockies. Snow and wind still a factor up in the northeast. California, you'll be dry up through Washington and Oregon. A few spits of rain around Seattle. Otherwise, this storm system gets its act together, builds up the rain from Des Moines to Dallas, some snow from Bismarck, North Dakota to Denver, heaviest snow in the San Juan Mountains, and again, some wind, a little bit of snow left over. It's not all over with even by noon tomorrow. Some heavy rain still occurring along the coast, some lighter amounts beginning to develop out in the plain states. Heavy snow zone in the Colorado Rockies Around Steamboat Springs, they'll be watching it pile up there. Still some heavier snows in Massachusetts and Rhode Island. Expect to see 20s with the snow in the Northeast, snow back out in the Rockies, 60s along the Gulf Coast. Not a bad day for Christmas shopping in Texas, or even later on tonight, but by dawn tomorrow, single digits spilling across the Rockies, teens and 20s in the Northeast.
Travel is not a good idea throughout interior sections of New England, but it's improving for some neighboring states. We'll have the whole travel picture coming up on the Weather Channel.
The Remington microscreen shaves as close as a blade or your money back. Flexible screens let you shave below skin level. The Remington microscreen. Ladies, shave in or out of the shower. The Lady Remington Wet Dry.
If you've been hiding from nighttime cold medicines, try Robitussin Night Relief.
This is different, dear.
It has no alcohol, unlike that other, which has 25% alcohol. New Robitussin Night Relief, nighttime cold medicine from a name you trust.
In the pages of National Geographic magazine. For only $21 a year, all the wonders of our world unfold before you. You'll enjoy award-winning photographs that explore the remarkable diversity of our world. Whether you're trekking across Africa or racing to adventure, National Geographic takes you far beyond ordinary reporting. Join the Society, and you'll also receive up to 6 valuable reference maps. National Geographic promises you the best and nothing less.
Call 1-800-624-4400 to join. Charge it if you like, or send $21, $37.50 in Canada to National Geographic, 1-800-624-4400.
Now, your local forecast, accurate and dependable from the Weather Channel.
Coming up, a look at your local radar. But first, the current local conditions. The regional forecast. Your local 36-hour forecast from the National Weather Service. Extended forecast. Your local radar showing any precipitation and its movement during the past 90 minutes. Intensity is indicated by the color code at the top of the screen.
Avoid unpleasant surprises when you travel. Watch international weather. Accurate weather forecast for Europe at 41 after the hour every day on the Weather Channel.
And now it's time for the Michelin Drivers Report, brought to you by Michelin and your participating Michelin dealers. The storm in the Northeast we've been describing for days is not over with yet. In fact, there'll still be some more snow in southern areas of New England. They have 4 inches of snow on the ground now in Boston, still snowing down through Providence, even Hartford, Connecticut, Islip, New York, New York City, and JFK and LaGuardia. So any travel plans along Interstates 81, 87, 91, or 95 will be treacherous. You might have second thoughts about venturing out this afternoon. Some more rain into southeast Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and Delaware, so please drive carefully. Snow will expand not only in New England, but also build out of the southwest United States across the Rockies, feeding into the northern plains. By tomorrow morning, look, it's just about over with. Good news there. But the snow expands from Denver, Colorado to Bismarck, North Dakota, across Nebraska and South Dakota as well. Windy conditions still brushing the shoreline. Those will be backing down to the 30 to 40 mile an hour wind gusts. A stripe in the midsection of the country in the west will be windy. And rain in Arizona, building in the plains, continuing around Philadelphia. There could even be a few strong thunderstorms.
As soon as one winter storm cranks up in the east, another one moves in from the west. Coming up, we'll show you what that means for the coming weekend.
For regional Michelin drivers reports, call the Weather Channel Connection, 1-900-WEATHER.
High-performance cars. Luxury performance cars. Family cars. Light trucks. If you've got the car, we've got the tire. Michelin. Because so much is riding on your tires.
Find Michelin tires at this dealer near you because so much is riding on your tires.
Now, your local forecast, accurate and dependable from the Weather Channel.
Coming up, a look at your local radar. But first, the current local conditions. Regional conditions. Your local 36-hour forecast from the National Weather Service. Extended forecast. Special regional information. The forecast for cities nationwide. Regional forecast. Your local radar showing any precipitation and its movement during the past 90 minutes. Intensity is indicated by the color code at the top of the screen.
Wow, what a major storm has been blasting through the northeast quadrant of the country. I'm Dennis Smith alongside Mike Bono, and this tale of this storm from the northeast is not over with yet. A closer look at it will discover the snow still going in from Boston to Providence, from Hartford, Connecticut to New York City, extending back through Albany and all the way down into around Newark and Trenton, even eastern areas of Pennsylvania. A little bit of freezing drizzle from Bradford to Buffalo as this storm system still winding it out with some gusty winds and snows continuing to pile up, and the rains brushing along the shoreline. Very strong winds creating near blizzard conditions just north of Boston, and also reporting a little bit of let up in the precipitation farther on towards the west. We've seen quite a bit with this storm. We saw hurricane force winds. We experienced snow that they measured with a yardstick. We also experienced some coastal flooding problems. The snow piling up as much as 35 inches in areas of Pennsylvania and also up into Massachusetts today. They've seen quite a bit of snow, over a foot of snow Even in Worcester, Massachusetts, they reported over 2 feet of snow with this storm system, and this is what it looked like in Worcester, Mass. Boy, what a mess. What a mess. Really piled it up there, and again, in some areas over 2 feet. Caused some local problems, not only with traffic, as one would assume, but also the weight of that heavy, wet snow on the power lines and trees, creating some power problems in isolated areas. A beautiful winter scene, unless you have to be out there shoveling it. And for those that are kind of weak in the heart, please don't venture out there. Heavy, wet snow has already created a few fatalities up in the Northeast from heart attack victims trying to shovel too much snow. Snow continues in the Cascades, down the Sierra, and the Wasatch Range. We have one storm in the east, one storm in the west, and it looks like this one will spread across the Rockies and develop some more snow. Some rain for South Texas. That will expand north and eastward. It looks like a wet scenario with a stormy pattern developing in the Plain States. Southeast through the Great Lakes in pretty good shape, and the far western states enjoying a pretty nice Saturday. 30 at Boise to 37 at Des Moines. 34 with snow in New York City. Sunshine and 49 in Atlanta. 60, a nice-looking day in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. But the wind chill drops on down to 5 up in the northern tier states. 9 at Boise, 16 at Minneapolis. And with near blizzard conditions, it feels like only 5 degrees in Boston. A nasty day there. Let's look at the satellite vantage point and show the storm system still wrapping up off the southern New England coastline, spreading the gusty winds and the snow. Even the low clouds shrouded over the Appalachians, building westward and throughout the plains, an advancement of moisture feeding from Texas northward into Kansas as another storm system back in the southwest continues to pivot and move on off towards the northeast. Already the low clouds are in place. The stormy weather has been already working on the Rockies. Will gradually build on eastward over the next couple of days and saturate more of the midsection of the country with rain. Rain along the Rio Grande, recently development all the way from San Angelo down to around Laredo. Spotty and precipitation in the west, not well organized, not well represented as of yet. All in the northeast, the snows continue from southern New England all the way down to New York City. Rain continues to brush on up into areas around Atlantic City and working on down towards Dover, Delaware. We have the one storm pattern in the east, another trough developing, or another storm pattern out in the western states that will continue to feed in, as we say, good riddance to this one. Boy, it created enough problems already. Later into the weekend, into the week, we'll flatten things out a little bit, maybe an improvement on the weather. So here's the picture by tomorrow morning. Still just a little bit left with this storm. Boy, I'd like to get rid of it. It's been a definite nuisance up in the northeast. Rain from Iowa to Texas, more snow spreading out from Colorado into sections of Minnesota, drying out in Pennsylvania all the way down into Georgia. Continued dry weather for the west coast as most of the rain will concentrate in the midsection of the country. Heavier rain still yet this afternoon in areas of southern New England. Most of that in the form of snow, though, so expect several more inches before it's all said and done, and most of it peeling on the side of houses and buildings with those strong winds. The southwest will also experience some heavy snow, especially in the San Juan Mountains, as they'll be sagging in the single digits, even the teens across the Rockies. And then for tomorrow, chilly in the northeast and a nose of some teens sliding on southward across the plains. Our look ahead is sponsored by Long John Silver's. Go fish with Long John Silver's, where America goes for fish. Monday, we're looking for some chilly readings. Bundle up, venturing on out from the 20s in Colorado to Minnesota. 60s. Get out and enjoy that. It's been a long time since you've been up surging into the 60s into Atlanta or Birmingham or even on back to Shreveport, Louisiana. So get out and maybe wash the car or something. I don't know. It looks like a great day. Even some 60s moving on up into North Carolina, Nashville, Tennessee. But it's short-lived because we've got some very chilly temperatures settling southward on Wednesday, spilling across the Rockies into the plains with some 30s. Shiver me timbers. Teens and 20s showing up on our map on Thursday as 40s sag southward, replacing those temperatures that were once in the 60s earlier in the week. Rain marches eastward. Rain as far north as Chicago on Monday with thunderstorms along the Texas coast. Good news up here. Some more snow back out into the Rockies. As that system breaks up a little bit, snow will be in the northern reaches, but from Detroit to New Orleans, looks like more thunderstorms on Wednesday. Rain where it's been snowing so heavily, and again by Thursday, more rain in places like Boston, New York City, and D.C. Parts of the Northeast buried under as much as 3 feet of snow. We'll have the latest on this major winter storm coming up on the Weather Channel.
Now with any meal from Long John Silver's, you can collect Holiday Crystal. Just 69 cents and 99 cents.
At Long John Silver, you're gonna get your wish. Go fish.
Go fish with Long John Silver's, where America goes for fish.
It's gone. Put
it isn't.
Here's strong medicine in a cough drop. Extra strength Vicks. With Vicks Vapor Medicine so effective, it'll relieve your cough and help your scratchy throat and stuffy nose feel better, even after the drop is gone.
Well, the skier's forecast is sponsored by Ski Utah, who invites you to ski the greatest snow on Earth. Let's take a look at some of those snow totals and snow activity that we're looking at. And your local forecast will be coming up. We want to promise you that. A lot of snow on the map from southern Maine and on through a good chunk of New Hampshire, and amounts have been up to 2 feet in western Connecticut, up to 2 feet in parts of Massachusetts, and on into the Catskills in New York, coming in with up to 3 feet of snow at Ski Windham in New York. Let's take a look at some of those conditions right now, and we'll see what we have. In New England, the conditions time with Waterville Valley and Sunday River coming in with a lot of new snow. 3 new inches at Sunday River. The southwest corner of Maine has had up to 6 inches of snow. Mount Snow Haystack just doing great. Stratton with 6. Now to the north, there wasn't quite as much snow as further south. Waterville Valley with packed powder, 30 trails open at Sugarloaf, and Okemo with 52 trails open. We had tons and tons of snow in a lot of southern and central New England, all the way back here, 30 inches in western Massachusetts. This is one of the big storms of all time in this area, with up to 20 inches in western Connecticut. And now the Worcester area coming in with almost 30. Still more snow on the way. This is the potential for the rest of this storm, 6 to 12 more in a stripe right down to the coast. And snowmaking is just excellent further on toward the north. For Monday, we're looking at sun and snowmaking conditions par excellence. Tuesday the same. Great skiing. Go out there and get a piece of the action. Some good snow. Some of the best early season skiing we've seen in some time in this part of the world, as we see the sunshine and the snowmaking continue. Well, now it's time to take a look at some other conditions.
Tiniest droplets of moisture from the Pacific cross the west, dance in the jet stream, and dump all over Utah. Skiers agree Utah has the greatest snow on Earth. Light, dry snow gives you a choice: powder or easy-to-ski packed runs. You can leave home in the morning and ski Utah that afternoon. Call or write for your free Ski Utah Winter Vacation Planner. Get to know Utah snow.
You know where I'm going tomorrow?
Where?
I'm flying all the way to Asia.
Can our plane fly there?
Well, maybe if you throw it real hard, it just might.
When you have business on the other side of the world, choose the airline that just cut up to 3 hours off your travel time to cities throughout Asia. With service to more Asian cities than any other U.S. airline, Northwest Airlines, the leading airline to Asia. Some people just know how to fly.
Now, your local forecast, accurate and dependable from the Weather Channel.
Coming up, a look at your local radar. But first, the 36-hour forecast from the National Weather Service.
The quotes are in on the all-new Geo Prism. A look that easily surpasses Honda's best efforts to date. A handsomely styled, roomy, refined sedan. Inexpensive only on the bottom line.
But the most impressive quote of all may be the one you get from your Chevrolet Geo dealer.
Watch Private Lessons on the Weather Channel, sponsored by Geo, or read this month's Skiing Magazine.
Here's a private lesson from Skiing Magazine and the Weather Channel, sponsored by Geo.
Hi, I'm Lisa Feinberg.
And I'm Steve Still. We're here at Breckenridge, Colorado with a private lesson for beginning skiers.
If you're like most new skiers, you probably can't wait to make parallel turns. Start by learning the proper stance in a traverse. Standing with your skis pointing across the hill, slide your uphill ski about 6 inches ahead of the downhill one, and the uphill half of your body ahead of the downhill half. This action puts you in a well-balanced, ready position. Try it traversing slowly across an uncrowded slope. Now practice linking wedge turns with traverses. Make a wedge turn, then bring your skis parallel to each other and adopt a ready position. For more skiing tips, check out the private lessons section in Skiing Magazine.
And keep watching the Weather Channel.
As soon as one winter storm cranks up in the east, another one moves in from the west. Coming up, we'll show you what that means for the coming weekend.
Skiers, call 1-900-WEATHER for slope conditions at over 400 ski areas worldwide. 95 cents a minute. That's 1-900-WEATHER.
Wow, mud on a new carpet. How beautiful. Oh no, not the Regina Steamer carpet cleaner. It's too powerful. And it's too easy to use. It doesn't respect dirt like I do. Oh no, not my tricycle tracks. Oh no, not my flea circus. No, not my self-portrait.
Regina, powerful enough to clean up after Pigpen.
Life before the Regina housekeeper was so simple, dirt and I could hide anywhere. Those days are gone now. I've never seen such a powerful vacuum. The Regina housekeeper can go anywhere I can go. That's it. Mom, it's me or the Regina. I guess Mom doesn't like ultimatums.
Regina, powerful enough to clean up after Pigpen.
If you're about to travel, watch the 5-Day Business Planner here on the Weather Channel at 20 minutes after every hour. You get a comprehensive national report that covers the forecast over the next 5 days. Watch the 5-Day Business Planner coming up soon on the Weather Channel. Now, your local forecast, accurate and dependable from the Weather Channel. Coming up, a look at your local radar. But first, the 36-hour forecast from the National Weather Service. Special regional information. The regional forecast. The current local radar showing any precipitation in your area. Intensity is indicated by the color code at the top of the screen.
Weather in Your Health is sponsored by Alka-Seltzer Plus Cold Medicine. Tough medicine for tough winter colds. And tough winter weather has been around the west and the east, a good chunk of the nation. Of course, you folks in the Great Plains getting a break. It was kind of cold and snowy about a week or so ago, but it looks like some messy weather moving in, so get that flu shot if you can. Looking at the yellow across the map, the states that have sporadic reports of the flu right into snowy New England today, and down toward the deep south in Alabama and in the heart of Texas. The aches and pains are on the map in the stormy northeast and middle Atlantic area. Feeling better in Georgia and Florida if the weather has anything to say about it. And on from the Canadian border, the northern plains down to the Mexican border, and the northwest. The aches and pains a little bit higher than usual for tomorrow. Looking at the southwest and the Rio Grande Valley right up toward the Dakotas, a major storm moving in. So bronchial asthma and emphysema will be up and still up on parts of the East Coast, but a nice weather pattern
breaking out in the mid-south and the deep south. Air stagnation, weather systems moving on by nice and rapidly, so no large-scale problems there. Your local forecast and more coming up on the Weather Channel.
Here's where Alka-Seltzer Plus fights tough colds with tough congestion, tough aches, tough sore throat.
This is why you need a tough medicine. Alka-Seltzer Plus cold medicine. The leading cold pill only relieves congestion, but Alka-Seltzer Plus relieves congestion, sore throat, headache, body aches. That's tough medicine.
You bet it's tough.
Alka-Seltzer Plus cold medicine. It's tough medicine. For a cold with a cough, try Alka-Seltzer Plus cold and cough medicine.
The leading baking mix comes in a box. New Recipes all-purpose baking mix comes in a resealable easy scoop canister. Doesn't that sound like a better idea? New from Martha White.
Look for Recipes, the new variety baking mix in a resealable canister at your favorite supermarket.
Major storm continues to brew just off the southern New England coastline, still spilling some snow and rain to that area. Look at all the moisture. It's advancing with this next storm system, also working across the Rockies with some snow piling up. And looks like the system kind of quieting down as it advances into Washington and Oregon, but it looks like some more rain and snow visiting that area. Let's look at the radar screens across the country. You'll see a gradual increase in the precipitation throughout the midsection of the United States. There's some light rain along the Rio Grande near Laredo, Eagle Pass advancing on up towards San Angelo and Cotulla. Also picking up some light rain working its way through southern Arizona right now from Fort Huachuca all the way up to around Phoenix. And again, some light precipitation, mainly snow breaking out in the northern Rockies. But let's check on that precipitation in the northeast quadrant of the country, mainly in the form of snow from Portland, Maine to Boston, Massachusetts. I've already shown you some scenes from Worcester, Mass. We're piled up to 2 feet there, snowing down in New York City all the way into most of areas of New Jersey, and then some light rain in southeast sections of Pennsylvania. A closer look would find the snow, and we'll give you a few locations where it is snowing. BOS, Boston, all the way into Worcester, ORH, down to New Haven, reporting some snow. NYC, some snow right now, even on down to Trenton. Light snow, not a major accumulation, but still a nuisance, will continue in southern New England.
Not far from Seattle's famed Mount Rainier is another place with a towering reputation. It's Larry's Markets, a supermarket where you can tour the wine country of France, sample delicacies from across the Pacific, and learn to cook food that's out of this world. But if you go, bring your walking shoes and your Visa card, because Larry's will take you on a culinary trip across 6 continents, but they won't take American Express. Visa, it's everywhere you want to be.
You can use your Visa card at the Pearl Vision Center nearest you.
Now, your local forecast, accurate and dependable from the Weather Channel. Coming up, a look at your local radar. But first, the 36-hour forecast from the National Weather Service. Extended forecast. The current local radar showing any precipitation in your area. Intensity is indicated by the color code at the top of the screen.
It's time to check the 5-day business planner here on the Weather Channel with the current weather map showing a storm, currently a storm, still blowing and drifting snow around the Boston area up toward the Berkshires of Massachusetts. We have more pictures coming up of some of that heavy surf and some heavy snow at the same time. One of the big storms that we've seen in recent years, quite back a few years. In fact, the tide that they got around Portland, Maine today ranks with the top 5 tides since 1912, it looks like, and there has been some flooding. We'll have pictures of that coming up in the next few hours, too. The changeover to snow is coming on down the coast and back into western New York and Pennsylvania, a little bit of a mixture. But high pressure from a lot of eastern Canada down to the Mississippi Valley keeps things calm, although we have a mixture of precipitation in lower Michigan. And one of these little hairpin fronts coming on down east of the Front Range will bring some cold air, It's not enough you're going to get snow in places like Denver and down toward Hobbs, New Mexico, and Clovis, but the wind with this front, the wind will be getting colder, and the snow will be blowing and drifting all the way on into parts of New Mexico as it continues up toward South Dakota and into Wyoming. Into Sunday afternoon, low pressure moving toward Oklahoma, but the rain could be thundery and kind of heavy, and maybe even some severe weather coming out of this on the Gulf Coast as our storm finally heads on out to sea. Looking for lows Sunday coming in the single digits, a few below zero readings in the west. That's about right for this time of the year, and widespread below freezing east with a little bit of a bump up of the temperatures in the southern plains, with 60s showing up. Nice weather toward the Gulf Coast and southern Cal, and pretty chilly with that snow in the high plains and the Rockies. As 50s wander up into West Virginia, we have to watch now for the warming effect on all that snow that fell. There could be warmth and rain at the same time. Hopefully not too much of either, because there's 2 to 3 feet of snow anywhere from Massachusetts all the way down to parts of West Virginia, but that cold air will be coming in on the heels of a brief warm-up on the East Coast. And the West Coast, again, 50s and 60s, 50s all the way up to Washington and Oregon, which have had their share of snow, even west of the Cascades in the last few days. Low pressure winding up, and the heavy snow to the west and heavy rain to the east. That's what it looks like for Monday. Thunder on the coast and some rain and snow showers mixed in the lakes. And that low pressure kind of cues up. It looks like it will redevelop south, but going to the well, bringing up a lot of mild air and some pretty good rains moving on toward the east on Thursday as still another storm breaks out in the west. We've got local weather coming up real soon.
Which scoopable litter would the experts prefer? A leading litter or Scoop Fresh cat litter? They both clump. But does your litter freshen between scoops? Well, that proves it. Scoop Fresh freshens better between scoops.
Do your holiday shopping with the Discover card, and you'll not only give, you'll receive a cashback bonus for every charge. It pays to Discover.
The leading baking mix comes in a box. New Recipes All-Purpose Baking Mix comes in a resealable Easy Scoop canister. Doesn't that sound like a better idea? New from Martha White.
Look for Recipes, the new variety baking mix in a resealable canister at your favorite supermarket.
This seasonal shape-up is sponsored by Recipes, the new variety baking mix in a resealable canister.
Why did you quit exercising? No time? No money? No interest? Well, the fact is that regular exercise is as important to your health as getting enough sleep. So give it another try. Cardiovascular fitness should be your basic goal. That means strengthening your heart through one of these activities. Choose one that's available on your schedule, regardless of the weather, and one that helps you avoid boredom. Whatever activity you choose, gradually work up to the proper level of difficulty for your age. Your heart rate tells you how hard you're working. An aerobic book or health club can tell you your target heart rate and how to measure it. To reach a basic level of fitness, you need to work at that level for 20 minutes, 3 times a week. Schedule your workouts so they become habit, part of your routine for a long and healthy life. This seasonal shape-up tip from the Weather Channel.
A classic nor'easter in New England. Heavy snow, high winds, and high seas. We'll have the whole story coming up on the Weather Channel.
Something new has happened at AT&T. Something beyond having more operators than any other long-distance company. Something more than helping you in just about any language you speak. It's the new AT&T Special Country Plan. Save 15% off AT&T international rates with no sign-up costs and no monthly fees. It's easy to come back. Call 1-800-647-9803. Dealing with one bill is still as convenient as you remember. But now you save 15%, not just to one person, but to everyone in the international country of your choice. There's never been more reasons to come back. Call now. You can still count on AT&T quality. But did you know that you can call one of over 200 international countries and cities and save 15%? If you ever thought about coming back, now is the time. 1-800-647-9803. AT&T, you couldn't pick a better time to come back.
Now, your local forecast, accurate and dependable from the Weather Channel.
Coming up, a look at your local radar. But first, the current local conditions. conditions. Your local 36-hour forecast from the National Weather Service. The extended forecast. Special regional information. The forecast for cities nationwide. The regional forecast. Your local radar showing any precipitation and its movement during the past 90 minutes. Intensity is indicated by the color code at the top of the screen.
That's right. You are watching the Weather Channel, checking this afternoon's weather and actually the last 2 days' weather, showing that we have had a mega storm in the Northeast, and this is just the snow part of it. There's been more than that, which we'll tell you about in just a minute. Up to 3 feet of snow, parts of northern West Virginia, Maryland, Pennsylvania, and now up to 30 inches in parts of Massachusetts. In fact, up to 1.5 feet around I-495, encircling Boston already. Parts of northern Connecticut over 20 inches, up to 30 inches in the Catskills of New York. Pretty heavy snow back on into the Great Lakes, but not as heavy as the Northeast turned out to be. 26, later reports show we're now up to 27 inches in Worcester. Granville back in the Berkshires of Massachusetts has at least 30. Pittsfield 2 feet, Great Barrington 20. The list goes on, and Boston's 4 inches probably will be up to 5, maybe by the time I'm done speaking. Western Pennsylvania 3 feet, the Panhandle of Maryland just about the same. DuBois, Pennsylvania 33 inches. The list goes on. Bradford, and this is not a lake effect event. We're looking at wind gusts that broke 90 miles an hour late Thursday night along the New Jersey shoreline, 80 plus in Pennsylvania. Boston, that was just this morning. They broke hurricane strength a couple of times, as LaGuardia Airport in New York did yesterday, and winds still gusting to at least 60 from near Boston up toward New Hampshire and Maine. This is on the north shore of Massachusetts. Winthrop, there was some snow in the air, but a lot of spray as those near hurricane force wind gusts were coming in. The tides were running 3 to 4 feet above normal. The waves 15 to 20 feet, and then some. A coastal flood warning goes on in Massachusetts, and they now have a blizzard warning along the coast of Massachusetts, including the Boston area, and as the ground rises off to the west, even heavier snow amounts and just as much wind. Accumulations continue heavy in central Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island, just about down to the Cape. It's snow, rain, and sleet mixed, and fairly heavy snow coming down in New York City now, accumulating northern parts of the island, the Bronx, Westchester, heavier up the Hudson Valley, and the hills of northern New Jersey, tapering a little bit finally toward the west. What a messy storm this is. And to the west, it's beginning to accumulate too, a foot in the Cascades, around Mount Shasta, the Sierra Range down to the San Gabriels. Not a foot, but accumulating. Yes, it was a foot and a foot and a half in the Wasatch of Utah down toward Bryan Head, Utah, the Bighorns of Wyoming. Quite a snowstorm there, beginning to mount up, and this is going to increase as we go on. The snow increasing in Wyoming right now. Black Hills of South Dakota, Gallatin, New Mexico with heavy snow. The Denver area beginning to snow. This little bit of a hairpin front will allow the north and northeasterly winds to increase up the Rocky Mountain slopes, picking up the pace of the snow. The snow in the mountains of Arizona and New Mexico, and still coming down a little bit further west with a calming condition now in the Pacific Northwest. Before we go on, we'll check the temperatures and notice that we have a lot of below freezing weather west, north, and northeast slushy. It's close to freezing on the coast, but below to the east. And weather is picking up in the south. They're getting a little bit of a break, but the southwest going downhill. Wind chills 9 in Boise, single digits in Rapid City, Bismarck. New York, Boston feels like about 5 or 7 degrees. Here's the picture from space. Spinning it on into motion, we have a spinner. This will be known hereafter as one of the biggest northeast storms of recent memory, as we have a little bit of a cloud-free area, but still the winds are pushing that moisture, the cloudiness, turning into heavy snow now in a lot of southern New England back on toward northern New Jersey. Lots of clouds and occasional wet snow to the west. But we have new action spewing up along the Rio Grande, some rain and some snow. You can see the twisting and turning of the clouds already in the high plains back around South Dakota, back toward Wyoming and Colorado. Plenty of clouds and plenty of snow with a front pushing on through the Mexican border areas. Strong thunderstorms possible here, and the snow's piling up just south of the Four Corners and starting to close in around Denver and the high plains of Colorado as snow flurries continue in the basin and another frontal system moves toward the northwest. This is snow cover in the mountains of California, by the way. The northeast covered with snow, some of this heavy in a stripe just about like that, but some lighter snows up toward Maine and turning to snow in parts of southeast PA and New Jersey. The big wheel keeps going round and round, and a push of moisture right in from the ocean, reminiscent of that big Halloween rainstorm of 91, but this time there's a lot of snow, but the winds are just as high, and the tides are just about as bad as they were back then. There's a nation and a snapshot, a glance, with some rain moving through the Rio Grande Valley of Texas and mountain snows in Arizona, and this is snow. Check out the jet stream and see another trough developing, a major storm in the west. Let's not downplay this, but the big one in the east just kind of spinning right now off the east coast. A new trough, but notice the winds from the south ahead of it. We have some warming ahead of this one. Things kind of flattening out, but a weaker storm should move through the west coast, the east coast this time, with more action to the west. Let's check out that forecast map. By tomorrow afternoon, low pressure will be a strong one, but finally headed out over the fishing lanes and the shipping lanes with some snowflakes still in southeast New England. Then the break comes in. A very slow mover, but a strong snowstorm then from Minnesota through eastern Dakotas should be getting a pretty good fall of snow back into the southern Rockies and high plains, with some quieting going on the west coast. There's some precipitation that will add up in parts of Oklahoma and Texas around the Four Corners, and still heavy precipitation, maybe an inch more melted snow. That means they could have 6 inches to a foot in southeastern New England. Additional, some snow still left over in the Appalachians and parts of the southwest, southern Rockies, high plains. 6 inches to a foot additional. Lows Sunday way down there, but not that far from normal. It'll be cold enough to maintain that snow for a while in the northeast, but then the warm air is kind of gathering to the south. Notice the push to the south of cold air and a bit of a push to the north of the warming ahead of the next front. 50s and 60s southwest, Southern California, and some of those 50s into the northwest. Now, weather systems, a slow mover, but the snow could be heavy with that slow movement. A bubble of it moves to the northern plains, but here comes the rain then, Mississippi Valley. We're going to have to watch for some of those heavy snow packs to possibly melt off a bit as another storm gels in the west.
Parts of the Northeast buried under as much as 3 feet of snow. We'll have the latest on this major winter storm coming up on the Weather Channel.
When you receive your pre-approved Discover Card application, sign it.
Oh.
Because you can't earn cash back until you get it back.
Oh.
It pays to Discover. Do your holiday shopping with the Discover card. And you'll not only give, you'll receive a cashback bonus for every charge. It pays to Discover.
From the Weather Channel, the 1993 Weather Guide calendar with phenomenal weather events features stunning weather photos and interesting facts. To order, call 1-800-845-8711.
Now, your local forecast, accurate and dependable from the Weather Channel.
Coming up, a look at your local radar. But first, the current local conditions. The regional forecast. Your local 36-hour forecast from the National Weather Service. Extended forecast. Your local radar showing any precipitation and its movement during the past 90 minutes. Intensity is indicated by the color code at the top of the screen.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Everyone's asleep. Shh, I don't make them up. Come on.